At this time, I'd like to call the Village of Midlothian special meeting for June 1st, 2016 to order at 7 o'clock. Roll call.
Trustee Gillis?
Here.
Trustee Adams?
Here.
Trustee Foley? Trustee Kreis?
Here.
Trustee LaRue?
Here.
Trustee Maskell?
Here.
Mayor Reddick?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I will open up the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, now would be your time.
Valerie Weiskirk, Midlothian, Illinois. I'm curious about an update on the $88,000. Where are we at on that? The replacement of it?
We have not done anything to replace it yet.
So no phone calls with anyone? You're not putting forth any effort whatsoever to put $88,000 back into the village bank account, right?
Not yet, no.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board? Yes.
Where are we at with the millions of dollars that was misspent? Or is the law firm made a suggestion on how to pay that money back?
We actually I had a phone conversation with Clerk Kolstad and myself last Thursday with the attorneys, and the board has all been given an update from them and advising us how to move forward. They are still working with the attorney, or the attorneys are working with the auditor to try to get that completed. One of the suggestions that did come out from the attorney was that there's a balance of about $1.9 million still in the bond proceeds, that we can go ahead and use that money to do capital improvements such as the water tower. I did get clarification on that. So, we'll be continuing to move forward. Yes.
Hello, Lisa Midlothian. Just curious if the various committees that meet within the village have minutes, and if so, where they can be found.
Committee does.
You submit them.
I give minutes to the clerk and agendas.
Yeah. I've got to file those that are submitting minutes in.
Yes.
George, where are you at with the other bids that we're going to put up? We're going to put other bids out to the agencies that do work for the village. The only one I see out there right now is for the audit.
They haven't finished putting together the RFPs yet, but they would. I know they're working on them.
Right.
George, just so you know, they're all a bit customized depending on what service it's for.
Right. No, I
Especially if
understand.
you want
Right.
putting together the audit one to be sure
Right.
this is right.
Any further comment from the public? I will close the floor to public comment. We'll move on to trustee business. Trustee Kreis?
The first item that I have is an update with drive time, and yesterday you did provide me with Tom Walsh's phone number, and I did speak to him yesterday, and he said he knew about the enterprise zone, but they didn't know anything about it. They were going to have someone research it. And, I'm sorry, drive time's on there, I'm on Ricky Rockets. They were going to have someone research it. So I said, I will save you an enormous amount of time. I sent him a link to the Cal-Sag Enterprise Zone. I explained to him that they needed to fill out the application prior to submitting their application for building permits. And I provided him with Mary Schmidt's phone number, who is the zone assistant for the Cal-Sag Enterprise Zone at the present time. And he thanked me a number of times. He did say they would be submitting some plans next week. I'm not quite sure what those plans are because I believe we already have site plans. But he said it would probably be a couple of months before they were moving dirt. So I did send him an email and told him if he had any other questions or needed information about the enterprise zone to please contact me. Update on environmental issues with drive time. I'd like to read the email that was sent to Sean Fitzgerald. Sean Fitzgerald, who's the real estate associate with Drive Time, did reach out to Peter Camberos, our environmental consultant. This was sent today. Just wanted to touch base and verify that the applications were submitted last week. I didn't get a chance, and Peter did respond, and Peter did send me everything that was sent to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency on Friday. But here is Peter's response to Sean Fitzgerald. Sean, the property has been enrolled in the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency Site Remediation Program, and you provided the hyperlink. Mr. Rhett Rossi, who we have worked on various projects, he has been assigned as the project manager to the project. Rhett is currently reviewing the reports. We spoke with Mr. Rossi on Tuesday to answer preliminary questions regarding the property. Mr. Rossi indicated that he will make an effort to review the report and, if agreeable, issue a draft no further remediation letter as soon as possible. We will keep you posted on their review. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us. So it's moving along. I don't know that we can go any faster. I know Peter has said that they've lost a ton of staff at the Illinois EPA due to retirements. They've lost a lot of institutional knowledge. But he does, if anybody has connections down there, it's Peter. So it is moving along, and I will continue to update the board every week. Unless anybody has any other questions or comments on either Ricky Rockets or Drive Time. Okay, Right Way. This is my night of economic development. Chase Dickens sent me this email this afternoon. Attached is a signed copy of the redevelopment agreement. I apologize for the delay. Mr. Garber was out of town last week. Clerk Holstead, I will get you a copy of that. Steve, and that's Steve Duggan, their developer, is going to reach out to you about the updated resolution so we can get this moving with Cook County. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact me directly. You should start seeing building and site plans coming in. Our engineers were almost completed with the building plans. Thank you for your help with everything. We look forward to growing with Midlothian in many years to come. I also received an email from Steve Duggan yesterday, and he indicates that he's looked over the RDA with Chase at Right Way. He had a conversation with Cook County yesterday regarding the Class 8, was told that a resolution by the village indicating approval is required, as we all know. For the Class 8, I was also informed that because of the substantial modification to the original plan, a new application must be prepared indicating the sole parameters of the new development. I will be preparing a new application, and we will be making it as comprehensive as possible. I will have the application delivered to the village by the end of this week, and hopefully the village can put the resolution on its agenda for the next meeting. I also understand the south half of the property will not be included in the new application. Thanks again for all of your help. I have to email Mr. Duggan back and let him know, as the board recalls, when we passed the redevelopment agreement, it states under section 3, within 45 days of developer receiving construction permits from the village in substantial compliance with the site plan, the village will pass a resolution approving a Class 8 real estate tax incentive supporting the developer's application of the county assessor's office for said assessment for the subject property. And I believe this was so that we made sure we had a site plan and they were going to actually move ahead. So I've got to let him know that he needs to reread that in the RDA. So Right Way is moving along as well. Tomorrow there is a meeting at South Suburban Mayors and Managers on the enterprise zone, and the board will have to pass new ordinances again because they're changing the boundaries, as I've been relating to everyone. So I will be there tomorrow morning representing Midlothian. This is extremely important, and when the ordinances are ready, I will bring them back so we can get them on the agenda. On Friday morning at 10 a.m., I will be at the Metropolitan Planning Council, representing Midlothian at the Calumet Stormwater Collaborative. Just so everybody knows, and I believe I mentioned this last week. We will be hosting, Midlothian will be hosting, in connection with the Active Transportation Alliance, an open house on Saturday, June 18th at the library. And we need residents' input, we need everyone's input about what changes they want around the metro station for pedestrian transit. This kind of dovetails into the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning Local Technical Assistance Program. So I do have flyers, whoever wants one. Again, everyone's input is really essential, and I will have Nicole get this on the website as well. I just received this from the Active Transportation Alliance. Natalie Creek's steering committee will be meeting next Thursday. I will get that agenda posted. And again, we are feverishly working on the Independence Day Parade. And I believe those are all the updates that I have this evening.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Ivan?
Thank you, Mayor. I was contacted about the yard waste containers. I guess several residents have left out their yard waste. For some reason, we haven't picked it up because supposedly because it wasn't in a new standardized container. Has anyone heard anything about a new standardized container from the garbage company that we're supposed to use?
It's in the contract. So they were supposed to, my recollection is, they were going to provide yard waste containers free of charge.
But they haven't provided them yet.
No.
So now that they're not picking them up because they haven't provided them?
So
That's what it sounds like.
So we have
Unless you
a
had them
disconnect.
prior, I had one that I got prior, I mean, probably 10 years ago. And I think once we started a new contract, they stopped charging residents for them. I believe it was $30 a month or
Yeah, there's no
$95.
charge for them, and the residents are supposed to call Republic, tell them it's part of our contract, and they'll get one delivered to their homes. I haven't heard that no one's getting picked up though, because, actually I know for a fact, my son only uses like a 30-gallon garbage can with the yard waste sign on it, and
Yeah,
his
but-
gets picked up every week.
It's what I've gathered, it seems like random policies being applied. Some places they picked up the paper bags, some with the yard waste sticker that was on the can, and some they didn't pick up at all.
You know what,
I
my
would tell them to
recommendation,
call Republic and complain to them that they didn't get picked up.
They
well,
did
or better
that.
yet, I think we need to look at the contract and
Yeah.
probably have
Why
Superintendent
don't we call-
Sperry.
why don't we
Yeah,
call
have
Republic
Superintendent
and
Sperry
ask them
call Hank Potts, or whoever's over there, who he has a relationship with, right?
Yeah.
Ernie.
Yeah, it's called, right.
Hank's gone,
Oh.
it's now Ernie.
Okay, have Joe call Ernie, because, you know, Joe has the
It could be
relationship.
that the container that the residents have in it may not be appropriate, and that's why they're not picking it up.
Okay, I mean, it just seemed random. I personally haven't put any yard waste out.
Yeah, mine gets picked up.
We got that notice about the yard waste container. We called them up, Republic up, and they said they'd bring one out next time they were out here.
I called today too, they said the same thing. They won't pick up the standard containers that we've been putting out of the bags, or with the waste sign on it or not, but I think the village should have notified the residents of this call waste.
I didn't know it was gonna change, I just knew they were gonna offer the new cans, I didn't know they weren't gonna pick up the old cans.
Yeah, I haven't
Well, they're
heard
not,
anything from
but
Public
they're-
Works. so-
if you call them, they will deliver your can by next Tuesday. So I think maybe
I
somebody,
have to learn everyone.
I thought that was in the contract. Yeah, we gotta look at that contract.
Yeah, I thought they were
Why
going
should we have to
to
call?
facilitate yard waste removal,
Well,
they were going to give us those free ones.
because everybody
Use.
else.
I think that's what was in the
Well, the
contract.
thing is,
Right.
if they're
But, I
going
mean,
to pick them up
that
without
hasn't
it, then they
happened.
should
I'll
just
email
bring
Joe
them
and
out.
see if he can get to the bottom of it, why they're not picking up.
If you don't call, they're not gonna pick
Okay.
it up.
Well, then I shouldn't have to pay
Jess
them.
sent out a water tower letter with the numbers in it, stuff like that,
This
that
is the one you're doing.
we were talking about at the last meeting. Was that, has anybody had a chance to look at that yet, or no?
Yeah, we gotta close on the drink tank property, Carl.
I know, but I think Alan, you were looking for like a schedule or something like that to help you?
He did send it, and I didn't bring it.
Okay.
But the final, yeah, Mike has it here. I think the final funds we're gonna be due until August of 17, something like that. Starting in September 16, right. And I think to the, we approved the treasurer's report last week, and I needed to confirm with Maggie, which I did not do, if the amount that was showing in the capital improvement bond for the water line included the most recent payment for the water mains in Cicero.
I don't think it did.
Because otherwise we were
I don't think it
We were
did.
about $140,000 short.
Okay, so I need to follow up with the.
No, I'll check with,
Okay.
I'll get the definitive answer from Maggie, but it was very close. There's another line also on there, on a capital improvement project that we might be able to use. It was noted it was TIF funds, which are eligible to be used for the water tower. So it may be very close to the numbers, but I think to Karen's point, we still have to make sure we've got a sale.
Right.
Okay.
Closing date.
Well, I just want to make sure you had all the information that you were looking for from the last meeting that you
Yeah,
requested.
Joe, actually, I think Jeff sent that like the next morning.
Okay. All right, good. Two things that I read about, and one of them I sent out today, that may be affecting our fall budget, or the budget in the fall, was the U.S. Department of Labor passed a new overtime rule. I just sent that to you guys. I don't know if it impacts any individual in the department, but it's, I guess, would be something for us to keep in mind, or at least look at in the fall. And Joe also said something about the new legislation that's in the process of it being passed, which probably won't again impact us in the fall, about lead in the drinking water. So depending on how or what's in that legislation, we may have to do something in some part of our water system process. So something to keep in mind again in the fall. And that would be it.
Okay. Trustee Gillis.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I do not have anything to report as far as any new business applications. We are going to keep the part-time position for code enforcement officer on the website for one more week. I believe Mr. DeSimone is going to start setting up interviews with applicants that he has on file. So that's hopefully should be finalized in the next couple of weeks. There are a couple property maintenance concerns regarding properties that need attention. Just so the board is aware, they are being addressed. One of them is CVS parking lot. They have 4 dead trees in the parking lot. I think it's from Dutch elm disease. So they will be notified to replace or remove those trees, and they need some just general landscaping upkeep. And if you notice that on 147th, the property just east of Mr. Support, there was some concerns, clarity on ownership. Apparently, the gentleman who the building department thought owned it wasn't aware that he owned it. So the building department is working on getting some clarity on exactly who does own that property, so it's good to tend to. And pardon me?
Reality doesn't own it?
No.
No, apparently Mr. Parr is the pin keeper, but he was not aware of that. So they, he's been being ticketed.
Complaining about his own property when he was here.
Well, apparently it was left
There's 2
to
parcels
his family
there. There's 2 parcels
without
there.
him knowing it.
Okay, all right.
That's strange, because Mr. Malicki signed the, approved
Well,
the
I think
access
part of it,
agreement.
Mr. Malicki did own, part of it, like Mike said, there's more than one.
Malachi's been doing the, through the law firm, doing the protest of the property tax amount. And he's stopping, he's not gonna do that any longer. But he doesn't own the property, we don't know. And there's nothing on the county website that shows who does own it.
Because the tax bills are still going in.
Yes, but I don't think he's paying them, he's just protesting. I don't know who's.
Yeah, anyway, we are trying to get some clarity on it. There was quite a bit of a confusion because when the building department contacted Mr. Parr, he didn't have a clue that his name was on any of the deeds, so. And we found that out by Mrs. Walt actually going downtown to investigate, so we had an accurate keep on it, so. it's being handled, so hopefully we'll get it. And there are some properties around town that we need to get on. One of them, another one is the old suburban cycle. It's not a big lot, but it's got to be at least a foot tall. So with that, I know that Mr. DeSimone was going to submit any additional bids for landscaping or maintenance for properties that are vacant. We did not receive any bids that were lower than Top Gun Landscaping. And with this being a special meeting, and it being on the agenda, I would ask the board to approve Top Gun Landscaping at a cost of $75 for the initial cut up to 1,500 square feet, and $40 for the weekly mow upkeep up to 1,500 square feet when exceeding village ordinance.
Erickson, which
Roy Erickson,
is what?
95 and 60, I believe. And initially, I was inclined to stay with them. Talking to Superintendent DeSimone, and he did express it to the board, you know, obviously, we need to get the best bang for our buck. And he's pretty confident that this is a reputable company. Everything that he's told me, I believe that this company will work out, especially with the procedures that the building department has put in place, and the fact that we do have a superintendent this summer should make an extremely big difference, so that the clerk's not dealing with the issues that we dealt with last year, the board's not dealing with it, or the personnel in the building department. I think it's going to be handled from the top down, and I believe procedure we have set in place in the ordinances that we have set in place that will be followed. I think this is a win-win situation for us. So I'd like to make a motion to approve Top Gun Landscaping for the 2016 property maintenance.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Gillis,
Aye.
trustee Maskell,
Aye.
trustee Ivan,
Aye.
trustee Killily,
Aye.
trustee Kreis,
Aye.
trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Trustee LaRue.
Okay. I gave everyone a hard copy of some recommendations from Fire Chief Hoppinger. I had a chance to read through them. I sent an email last week. First recommendation, I didn't give volunteer to show up today. If there's any questions from the board. First recommendation is to get rid of Squad 2707. It was purchased in 1997, so almost 20 years ago. It's in great condition, but it's aging and has become non-essential to the department. You guys can read through it too, but the plan is to put it on that run it through Fire Tech, and we've dealt with them in the past, and they sold, I think, our pumper. They did a good job with advertising it and selling it. So we believe that we can start off asking $90,000 for it. So, do you have any questions about that one? You see, it's not needed by the department. It doesn't help with our ISO rating. It's even Oak Forest doesn't want us to bring it over anymore, but it doesn't.
Yeah, Oak Forest is, they actually lost points for us coming over Squad, so they asked us to come in with Ninja to get the points. And it used to be a big asset to our department because we carried all our education tools around auto accidents. Since we got the general engines, or the new one coming, the other one, all our rescue equipment is on the new engines. So the use of the heavy rescue squad is not needed. We have it on our engines already, so we kind of condensed it to make it more effective for the way we operate. If we were on 57 or a big department, we had a heavy squad, we just don't have the need for it. And as old as it is, we still get some decent money out of it. I think it's best if we get rid of it.
Is that money going to be earmarked towards anything?
Well, we're hoping to put it, in the vehicle replacement fund we have, and then use it towards our next purchases or towards payments on the engine.
Okay, so is that, when you approve this, which would be at the meetings, that right?
I'd like to have it approved next week.
Okay, so we would put that in there, that it would be going towards the equipment fund?
We have to ask Bill to write the ordinance that way?
Well, normally we just dispose,
Right.
as an entity, we just dispose of it. It doesn't say what we do with the
Right.
money or anything like that. And it says that the fire chief's authorized to get the best price or do whatever. I mean, if it's agreed by the trustees, I don't see why it can't go into the vehicle replacement fund.
I just don't know if the ordinance would say that, I think. the
I don't think it would have to,
No, no.
right, it's just to dispose of. And if that's where the trustees would like that money to be placed, all we have to do is tell Treasurer Britton that's where the money should be
That's what-
credited to.
That's my opinion, that's where it goes. Okay. And then the other item is the fire prevention safety trailer. As the chief says here, it was once a great tool to educate our youth, but it's become an increasing problem to staff, maintain, and store. And most of the, just about all the education facilities that once enjoyed the safety trailer have become very less interested in using anything. So we would also like to get rid of that through the fire tech. Not sure about the price of that, you'd have to.
Yeah, there's not a big market. I mean, it was they're great when they came out. Fire safety trailers, there were a lot of towns, what they do is they put them up in blocks, like also been sitting behind their station, and no one even comes and sees it anymore. It's just, it was a great tool. I mean, we use it twice a year, once a year. This year we're using it twice. We're taking it to St. Chris tomorrow. It goes to Central Park and it sits out there for a year. And the kids climb in it. When we show them stuff, most of them, they're just running through it, and they're not going to learn anything. We have better prevention programs that we do at the school talks. And for, like I said, for the upkeep and for storage, I mean, you have to keep the covers out there. We've already bought 3 covers for it, so we can buy another association money. And even days like to do it now, we had to call people back to come there to man it, to do the signature for the schools. And I don't know how much money we get for it, so there's not a market out there for them, but I figured we could try.
Do we have a backup plan if there is no value in it?
Yeah, if there is no other value in it, maybe try selling it as a trailer, or somebody wants it as that. One of the options, let's say, once you put it down at Station 2 and park it there, so it won't last down there. I mean, it'll get damaged or something. There's no cameras or nothing there. It'll get damaged or, eventually just fall apart.
Well, there's probably not a whole lot of value in the metal itself, probably less than.
It's all siding, it's all aluminum siding, vinyl siding on it.
Is there a possibility of possibly seeing if another department would be interested in it?
Well, that's why we're gonna do it at Fire Tech. It goes nationwide. So just because we're outdated in our area, there might be a smaller town that can buy this, and that could be a good tool they can use for the community. So that's what we're hoping.
You've had good luck finding buyers for all of your equipment.
We have so far. So we're hoping to do the same thing. Yeah.
All right, so we have that hopefully on the agenda next week for approval. You'll be able to get the information,
Yeah,
pertinent information.
Sorry.
I'll
Thoughts
get
listening?
I'll get the title information.
Information you need? Yeah.
All right, and the last thing I have, we had discussed the fire department's in need of a part-time firefighter, and because of the hiring policy, it says all hires that are not in the bargaining units needs to be approved by the board. And I talked to Chief Hotwrecker about this, and it really doesn't make sense for that to happen for a part-time firefighter, because it's, as Chief puts it, it can be sometimes a revolving door back there with the part-timers going to other departments to become full-time. So I don't know if that's something we want to stick with or throw it out for discussion. I think it's probably an unnecessary step when it pertains to the part-time firefighters. First of all, I don't know anything about firefighting, and I wouldn't know if that person was qualified or not. I believe the department head does. So.
Well, they have to have certification anyway. Right?
And I don't think we're questioning the recommendations by the chief or any other department. I think it's just so we're aware that we're hiring new people. I think what it would be, he would bring a recommendation to the board, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4 replacements. I think it's good for us to be aware that, yeah, we just hired, or we're gonna hire 3 new part-time firefighters to take care of personally, I don't see any harm in keeping the ordinance the way it is. It just helps us be aware, okay, yes, we are approving it with the chief's recommendation. Because it is a revolving door. For that reason alone, I like the idea of knowing, and not that we're not gonna know, but this way it's addressed in a meeting.
And we can do it every 2 weeks, or if it's essential, we can turn a committee meeting into a special meeting to approve it.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing that I was talking with Trustee Drew about is that the part is where they're supposed to go to the board for approval to get hired, and same thing for termination. And we've had issues, and I've told Trustee Drew, we already got rid of 2 part-timers for issues that we terminated, and we didn't bring it to the board. If we're offering it to bring them to the board, I guess we're offering to give them a hearing or something also, if that happens. That's the only thing that I was kind of concerned about. Is, if that's what you got, if that's what the board wants, that's fine.
But they're at-will employees, so I mean,
But according to policy, it says that they have to.
According to the ordinance, it says we have to approve the conditions.
Right.
I only thought that was raised by someone other than the department head. Do you have the policy there?
I have the policy, or the ordinance. I do have the ordinance, and it says here, confirmation, the corporate authorities of the village, upon receiving the recommendations, shall vote on the recommended candidate to fill the position. So I think if you just ask to get it on the agenda, is.
I think he's talking about the other end.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, I'm looking for termination on here.
I think that's a unnecessary step. It's for part-time firefighter. I don't understand. I think it's unnecessary.
I have to carefully read this in Moldus. Can we get back to you?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Steve, I want to read it and maybe everybody read the ordinance again and.
Not only that, but time. I mean, you lose somebody, okay, who's next up on the schedule? And then you're paying overtime.
Right.
But Don, we can do it in a week,
Yeah.
right?
Time.
It depends on the situation. If we have to terminate someone right away, we have to basically put them on leave or have, not schedule them anymore until they can come, they're afforded to come in front of the board and have, according to the policy, have a hearing. And then,
Because the ordinance would have to be revised.
That's my recommendation.
or excluded the part-time.
Yeah, we need to
firefighters.
just change the last line that says probationary and seasonal employees may be dismissed by the respective department head at any time with or without cause and with no need for a confirmation vote of the corporate authorities.
Just add part-time
So I
firefighter.
think we can add part-time.
Where are you at, Dylan? What's that?
Section 4, dismissal of
Oh, okay,
non-employed
okay,
employees.
I see.
I think that should sound
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Okay, so in the meantime, Chief Wagner needs to hire a part-time firefighter, so I'd like that on the agenda to hire a part-time firefighter.
how many do we currently have now?
14, 13 or 14.
All paramedics.
All paramedics, except the one that's been here, Jason Swassky's been here for 17 years. He's the only EMT we have who's part-time.
Okay. And the last thing, we'll go to executive session to discuss. All right.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Gildy.
Newsletter, still haven't found it. I'm working on it, I finally got, I think, kind of contact with the right person that hopefully they can give you the figures on the newsletter, the costs, and I did get that this afternoon, hopefully shortly. It's good, we got the budget too, so we can see how that might fit into the budget too. Interviews are going along. We actually got some pretty good candidates for the part-time office position. I thought some very experienced people basically want to retire and work part-time. They're doing interviews, and I think the last interview was scheduled for Friday, so, according to what I understood. And so after that, then Maureen will be making, and the mayor will be making a recommendation to the board who they want to hire. And then let's not forget about the Cobra. Can we do that?
It's on your business.
Yeah, we'll do that.
You sure can.
Yeah, except I don't know the exact, it's not Code Red, it's emergency somebody, but.
Keep it up.
Yeah, they keep calling, they keep calling us, right?
What's the name?
I can't.
It's
think of it.
emergency somebody.
Yeah, emergency, something, emergency network or.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. So why don't we just say
Keep sending emails.
the bill to
Keep code red.
keep Code Red, yes,
There
that's
you
something.
go. You're making the
I'm
motion?
into that motion.
You're making that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
It's called the Emergency Communication Network.
There it is. ECM.
You have everything.
Sometimes.
Okay, so I put on the agenda about the configuration of the office because, you know, talking to different people at different times, especially since we hired a new building superintendent, you know, there's different things that, about the office that are functional and apparently some things that aren't functional for all the departments. Building department, you know, has the building superintendent in the back, and that's sometimes inconvenient as far as personnel from the front have to go to the back to talk. There's nobody in the front to answer the phone or to, you know, talk to people, so on and so forth. Also, sometimes, you know, the supervisor might like to be close to his troops, try to see how they're doing and what they're doing. Maggie has talked to me, and Karen, you would jump in because, you know, you made some comments about this too, about what's functional.
And she said she would not be, and actually she had asked, I think she had asked Maureen to go into the office that Billy's in. She said she would be fine in there, and she actually would prefer that because she has too many interruptions.
Yes.
Too much traffic, and she could close her door and work.
Where would
What about Janet?
Janet?
They would share the office.
Or Janet could stay where she's at.
Well, I had a conversation with Treasurer Britton today, and she thought having her and Janet move into Billy D. Simone's office would be best, because then, like, when she was working on the budget, just, you know, she's been trying to get that done, she's constantly being interrupted, and it's, you know, sometimes people don't realize that she really has deadlines she has to meet, and now with hopefully getting the audit finished and starting the new audits, you know, she just thought it might be more conducive if those two were separated or segregated, and then they could just do their work in there.
My feeling was, and I had a discussion with her, that I think I'd almost consider Maggie a department head, and I kind of feel she needs her own office. And there's probably times when she's going to be dealing with issues that are confidential, and she should be by herself and be able to close the door.
Sometimes she wants to be able to talk to Janet, but walk up to talk to Janet too,
True.
so I don't know. But I mean, maybe it's a little bit of both. So that's another issue. And then the last issue would be, well, Billy's gonna move up there. I think Billy should have his office, not just a cubicle. You know, I mean, he needs privacy, again, to talk to people or, you know, people who have issues with codes or developers or whatever it's gonna be. I think, you know, in general, it's helpful to have your own office. I think Maureen in the front is running into trouble with that because, you know, she doesn't have her own office, and that's tough. That's tough to be able, you gotta watch what you say. You're just gonna have to worry about that as a department head. So, you know, I think there's a need for privacy. I think the building superintendent sometimes discusses some things that should be private, and sometimes some things that people are not happy. You know, and I mean, you know, it seems like, you know, there would be a need for his own office. Treasurer Business said that she doesn't like the noise and that she gets bothered a lot in that particular area, and she would like privacy. So I'm looking for a solution here as far as what Maureen told me at one time that she thought that Mike, you were gonna move to another office, but I don't know if she misunderstood or not. But I mean, I think we have to try to meet these needs, everybody's needs. I don't think trying to just do one thing and not solve all the problems is probably not beneficial, even to the point of if Maureen was in some sort of office where she could see everything going, but be able to have a private conversation, it would be beneficial to her.
I think that's more of a priority need than our superintendent of building, because I believe he's out of the office right now more than he's in the office.
And for 90 years, we've kind of not had an office for the village superintendent, so.
Well, that's what Mr. Connell wanted.
I think it's just lack of room that prevented us, and I think that's gonna continue to be the case. Myself personally, I would like to see, if at all possible, if Maggie and Janet do move in the office together, that frees up their 2 cubicles. But Superintendent DeSimone in one of them, Glenn Walton in the other. We're gonna hire another part-time code enforcement. We're gonna need a place for him. He could go where Gwen is right now. We have Tom Knight, the health inspector, with Cheryl and 2 code enforcement officers. Because we do need, and they're gonna be all together. This way, Gwen and Billy can communicate next to each other, and I think there has to be that, because they're basically the 2 full-time employees in the department. So that should handle that, and I do believe that Maureen needs a more private, secure desk area because of some of the issues that we've had in the past. It would prevent a lot of headaches.
But if she's in, but I think she still needs to she needs to see what's going on in that front office in the event she needs to jump up and help at the front window.
That's right, so you need something that's clear.
She needs to be able to see what's going on.
Right. But at the same time, you need something clear where she can see, but also private where people can hear.
Would a higher partition walls?
Well, and I don't think a cubicle is acceptable for Billy if he's got people coming in to talk to. I mean, he's here early in the morning to talk to people, he can get away with that before people come in.
I mean, it just seems like we've afforded all of our other department heads have their own offices. And if they have to conduct confidential business, whether it's disciplinary or any type of a personnel issue, something to do with HIPAA, they really should be afforded that. And I would like Billy's input as to, does he want a private office? I think that's important because the police chief, public works superintendent, and the fire chief all have their own offices, as they should.
We could maybe get a quote on putting an office around those 2 cubicles we're talking.
Well, that's what, maybe like a higher wall on the cubicles. But I think for Billy, I think he needs both those cubicles. And are the building inspectors going to be there at the same time? Aren't they working?
28 hours, they're gonna cross over at least one day, maybe a day and a half. But for the most part, they're not in the office, but they need someplace for their personal equipment.
I think that could be maybe reconfigured in the present space. I don't know.
Pretty tight in there now.
I mean?
It's pretty tight in there right now.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing is that, if we're gonna put Billy up front, that's fine. But,
We
I want to
also
make
have-
sure he's okay with that.
yeah, make sure he's okay with it, but I think we need to provide him with privacy and some way, when you got, especially, you're gonna have developments, things like that, you might have a bunch of people in the office, you know, maybe it'll be in the mayor's office, I don't know, but I mean, it's, but, yeah, we've worked it out in the past, there's conference rooms and so on and so forth, but it just seems like, having privacy as a building department managers, I think fairly important. And, if Billy's okay, if that's okay with Billy, that's fine. Apparently it's okay with Maggie and to move in the back with Janet. Okay.
Can you check with Billy and see what his preference is?
Sure. And then for Maureen, maybe we could just put something, you know, with, like a little L with,
But
glass.
currently, there's two cubicles that are not being utilized, the one's gonna be for the part-time hire, so we still have one empty one.
And may, for a short time period, that may be used by our HR consultant. Because she's gonna wanna do some work on the premises too. But I mean, you know, overall, that could be scheduled around what we need to do. I mean, if we need time to go over the last cubicle or something like that, you know, I mean, I think that could be scheduled. But the big thing is, can we find out if Billy's okay
Yep.
with
Yes.
this and see what he wants.
Or does he want a private office?
Well, I'm sure you don't want private.
Well, but
Well, I
again,
mean,
we've
that's-
afforded it to every other department head, and I think that's just fair.
I will discuss it.
Okay. That's all I have to discuss.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Masto.
Yes, I just had one thing tonight. I think everybody on the board received a copy of an email yesterday from Deputy Chief Delaney around the Chicago Communications contract. I have not asked Attorney Gleason yet if he's seen this latest version. I know he reviewed all the initial documents originally. I just wanted to check with him to be sure he's seen this latest one, the contract with Chicago Communications, before we put it on the agenda. So I will call him or email him tomorrow and just confirm that he's done that, but it sounds as if this one is ready to be signed. We're waiting for the state to submit their approval before we move ahead, and much to my pleasure, Deputy Chief Delaney was already honest and said, you know, he doesn't want them to order anything until we have that approval. Although they're really the ones mandating the change, so I can't see why they wouldn't approve it. But I kind of agree with his proposal there. So presuming it takes the whole 90 days, we would be looking at a December 7th transition date to Calcom. But
I know it's slow. I thought it was gonna be much
Optimistic.
quicker and,
If we hear sooner from the state, it could be sooner,
Right.
but I think that's the farthest out date right now. So I will confirm with the attorney, but if he is okay with this, we'll have to put the contract on the agenda for next week. And that is all I have.
okay, thank you. Under my business, I'd be looking for a motion for the special use ordinance for 3202 West 147th Street, and that would be ordinance number 1929.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion?
I don't know if it addresses the appearance needs of the village.
Just saying that it needs to be kept up.
It needs to be kept up,
Doesn't
that's
do
not
specific.
it. That's a me, no way.
Comply or brought up to compliance with current village building codes in all respects.
Appearance. I wanna know what he's gonna do. I wanna know if he's just gonna open the door and just, what is he gonna do? No, it's not just gonna hand the keys to the new guy and just say, here, you're done, go on. I don't think that's good.
Because this is still being leased, correct?
It's being leased, apparently, right? I mean, is he gonna paint the building to lease? What is he gonna do? Is he gonna paint the building? What's the sign gonna look like? I don't know.
Well, the sign, he'd have to apply for a sign permit.
Yes.
Any and all signs currently on premises or which may be placed on premises shall be erected and maintained in strict conformity with the village code.
And it also says here, the exterior and interior of the business shall be maintained in a professional manner, and the property owner shall ensure that the premises are kept free of debris and or refuse.
And it was previously a used car lot, the building.
Pardon me?
The building was before, was a used car lot.
Yes.
So
We
the
don't want-
configuration
We
of
don't
my
want it to
next.
look better than it is right now. You're
Well,
really
it is a
happy-
converted gas station, so.
Well, you're really happy with, you know, I mean, it's something, you know. I mean, at this point, he could put a sign on the building, which would be conforming to the village codes. Whatever kind of sign that would be, which we're pretty liberal as far as our signs. And he could hand the keys to the gentleman and say, here, it's open. That's what this says right there. Clean it up, hand the keys to him, put a sign up there. Something like what he's got right now for a lease. That conforms to the village code. Is that what you want? I don't think, you know, at some point, we have to, and we have, and for the other people, we have asked them to upgrade their property. Cars 147 didn't just open up, didn't just turn the keys, they upgraded the appearance of their building. The boys over here, they upgraded the appearance of that building a little bit, and remodeled it a little bit. I mean, I think we should ask a little bit more rather than, here, just open up. But that's pretty much what this says. Clean it up, put a sign up there.
I disagree. I think this is pretty thorough, and it does say at the end, if any of these conditions are not followed, they'll lose their business license.
And Superintendent DeSimone has been pretty good about, he's running around making sure that the properties are maintained.
And
Yes.
if there's a shortcoming in our ordinances, shouldn't we update the ordinances?
Well, I think it's more specific.
It's more specific. I mean, you know, that area needs help. We're just killing them. We're just killing them. I mean,
I think what would be beneficial, and it may be, I don't know if it's too late to ask this now, but a landscape plan should be submitted.
a landscape and exterior plan.
Right, I mean,
Give
so
me
we know
something
what
about
we're
how
doing.
that's gonna look. Just tell me how it's gonna look, and maybe I'll feel more comfortable, but I won't vote for this. There's no way.
So tell me, Don, I mean, we could table this until next week if we could put those, what would you
Yes, yes, oh
specifically
yeah,
like
exactly.
to see in there?
Give me an exterior landscape, and I don't know about landscape, I don't even know if they have any. I don't even know if they have any.
There's no dirt or anything.
I don't think they do, it's all.
It's all
okay.
concrete or
Yeah,
asphalt.
but I mean, how's the building gonna look, how's the sign gonna look?
So what would you suggest we put in
Get a
here?
plan.
Pardon me?
Give me, it's gotta have a plan that's approved by the, for the appearance, approved by the village board.
What type of plan? A site plan? Is that what it would
Well,
be?
exterior,
An exterior?
exterior and sign, I wanna know what that's gonna look like.
The same, you still have to submit it to the building department.
Well, I
We
understand,
know
but the
that.
sign, again, our sign ordinance is very liberal.
Then we should change the ordinance, not,
Well,
Yeah, that's what I would prefer.
yeah, we haven't, but in this case, why open up something that we don't want?
We just
We don't like
changed it in
Go look
November.
up. We've been fooling around with the sign ordinance for 4 years and we never did anything. In this case, we have the opportunity to make the, and in the other properties, we have asked them to do better and they did. Cars 147 does not look much like the original property they took over. It looks much better. Give me some hope that it's gonna look a little bit better. That's all we want. When we're doing this, the standards are, is it gonna make the neighborhood look better? Is it gonna make the business look better? Is it gonna bring jobs? That's the 3 standards that I would advocate we promote. And any business that goes in, does this ordinance satisfy those requirements? No, it doesn't. We don't know if it's gonna if the business is gonna look better. We don't know if it's gonna look good for the community. And and the jobs, we assume it's gonna bring jobs, it's gonna have to have a few salespeople, great, but what about the other 2? Why do we let that go? We deserve better. I mean, the guy, at least the guy can slap a coat of paint on the blasted thing, how do we even know he's gonna do that? We
He
don't.
did do a lot of exterior work in the fall. He had a dumpster there, he
Yeah.
replaced the soffits.
Right.
I believe he did some painting.
We did quite a bit of work over there.
Yeah.
This
He
is
did make.
about a year ago.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, so a little more from her.
I think he was getting it ready to try and lease it out.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but you're also running a risk of this, keeping that property vacant forever.
Can I make
For
a
a coat of
suggestion?
paint?
You're asking for more than quarter paint now.
Can I make the suggestion that we approve the ordinance with the condition being that we get a description of the exterior work the owner plans on doing prior to the leaser taking over property? I mean, ask him if he plans on doing the work, and if the building department can go over there tomorrow and make recommendations to the board or to the owner that, hey, you know, and Superintendent DeSimone, Karen said, has been pretty good at working with owners. I mean, a good example is the property across the street. That wall was sitting there falling apart for months, and it took him the first week of being here to address it, and it's repainted, everything is great. So I think they'll be instrumental in getting the quality of care that we need from the property, but I would hate to see a delay in getting somebody in there, especially this time of the year. I would just like to see us.
We can't, if we pass this ordinance, we can't force him to do anything else. Billy can ask, which I'm sure he would, but in that case, that was against the ordinance, that was a violation of the ordinance. In this case, he can just, he might be a nice guy to do it, but
I can't see the new business accepting anything that's going to deter, customers from wanting to come in. I'm sure he's going to hold the business, or the property owner, to a higher standard as well.
I don't know, who's doing the, I don't know. I don't know who's doing it, but I think that place has to look better than it does right now. It doesn't, I'm not asking that he's gonna do a $100,000 remodel. Do something, make it look better, make the building look a little bit better, give me a sign that's something that looks decent. That's not just painted plywood sign or something like that, I don't know. I actually did.
We didn't put that restriction in the old Merlin Loftler shop, we put up over the next time, so you can't just automatically assume that
No.
everyone's gonna.
Merlin had the sign there. Empire doesn't. What the heck? Extreme, that's close. They didn't have a sign, but Merlin had a sign, old sign.
I feel like you're asking him to do more than our village code asks all the other businesses to do.
We've asked
Yeah, the
the other car dealers to do that, so. We've asked the other car dealers to do that. We paid, on 147, we asked them what the signs were gonna look like on the second lot before.
He showed up, we didn't ask him.
Well,
We also,
actually, then we told them that we didn't like it, and he had to do something different.
and we also told them they had to tear
But
down
they weren't
like the old sign.
compliant, they weren't compliant with our sign order, they were too big. We had to approve that.
Right. And he showed us how the design was, which was nice.
We didn't ask him for it, he gave it.
So if we don't approve this tonight, is it possible that we can look to get the information and approve it next Wednesday?
Oh, next Wednesday is 1 o'clock.
I didn't think we approve it tonight.
Okay.
I mean, it is,
I just think the east side needs help, needs the board's help, that's all I'm saying. Okay, go.
The only caveat I got though is that in the original documents that we saw, it sounded like they were gonna use part of the Tasty Freeze lot as part of the whole
This is-
development.
this says no.
No, this is not.
Well, I just wanna make sure that they're told that and that they're not assuming that they can use it,
Because this ordinance only addresses the corner.
Okay.
But the
That's a good
pins,
point.
no, but the pin, it has 4 pins, so is that,
The 4 pins are the corner.
The corner.
okay, it's not the Tasty Freeze.
No.
But originally, somehow we talked about remodeling the Tasty Freeze. for
Yeah,
sales
that was in the
office
documents that we saw,
originally.
yeah.
And
That was a conversation at the.
That was just,
zoning.
yeah, that was just a conversation.
That was
they were having.
discussed in the site plan,
That's not
or
part of
in the
this.
zoning.
It's not part of the ordinance.
I know, I just want the
But I
owner
mean, yeah,
and them to be aware that it only is that and that Tasty Freeze got
Well,
nothing.
if they try, then we'll tell them, yeah, okay, fine.
Well, again, it says here, if any of these conditions are not followed, or any village ordinances are violated, the variation shall terminate immediately, and any business license will be immediately revoked. And it says the building facilities must comply or brought up to compliance with current village building codes in all respects.
They're in compliance with the sign, you like how it looks now. That's all I'm asking, they're in compliance, put up a sign, they can open up tomorrow, if you like how they look.
I'm fine with wait to get a exact idea.
We have to have a vote.
I was gonna say, I have a motion and a second.
Unless there's a motion to table it.
I'd like to make a motion to table.
I'll second.
I have a motion to table and a second. Roll call.
Trustee Kelly.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Nay.
Trustee Maskell.
Nay.
Motion carried to table.
And could I just bring up a question, because in this ordinance is the access agreement for the US EPA grant. Mike, have you had any more conversation about Midlothian cars? Have they had 15 days from when the board passed the ordinance to get that signed. They don't
Correct.
have anything yet.
That was May 4th, and I talked to him a week ago, and he still had not had gotten it signed by Mrs. Donato. And he was gonna go over there that day, to her house and get her to sign it, and I haven't heard back from
And
him
Mrs. Donato, he said he was the owner.
No,
since.
he's,
He's the owner of,
He is.
Oh, he doesn't own
he has a
it.
deal with her.
Oh, yeah. okay,
Yeah.
fine.
but again, it says, and I think this exact language was in that ordinance as well, the owner must execute the environmental right of access agreement within 15 days of passage of this ordinance, and
Right.
that hasn't occurred.
So that ordinance is, at this point, is in violation.
Yeah.
And he's not doing car repairs either.
No, he's not doing any car repairs that I know of.
So would we have to then re-adopt that ordinance if that gets signed? I mean, that's a legal question, because it didn't comply with what's in the ordinance. Or I can ask Mr. Gleason next Wednesday evening.
Okay, you wanna handle that then?
But we should probably get,
Well, his variance that he asked for is not approved now, because he didn't follow what the
Right,
ordinance
what the ordinance
required.
said. So if we get it done, do we have to repass the ordinance?
we probably should see what the holdup is. Maybe Mrs. Donato didn't want to sign it. We don't know that. I believe he
Well, when
has
I talked to
2
him,
years left on his lease before he owns it.
right, when I talked to him, he said that he wasn't able to make contact with her at that point in time. And I told him, I says, it's supposed to be done within 15 days, so he said, well, I'll get over there and get her to sign it, so that was the last I heard from him.
Okay. Do you have anything under clerk's business?
Yes, one thing, I got a request, the Esperanza's Nutrition, I sent to all the trustees. They want to have a little celebration for their second anniversary behind the building that they are in, which is right next to Keystone's parking lot. From 5 to 7 p.m. on June 16th, I think it is.
Yes, I'm lost.
Esperanza's is next to,
Parking lot.
East Oaks parking lot.
It's just east of the bank, just east of Harris
Right.
Bank.
Where the Chinese restaurant used to be, it's next to the haircut room.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
They want to put up a tent back.
And they're gonna put a tent where?
Behind the building, there's a spot for 4 cars behind the building on their space. They're gonna put a little pop-up type canopy and have music and no alcohol, but
Where
music.
the
and-
alley is?
No, where the
There's parking lot.
There is a parking lot.
Yeah.
There's parking there.
Big enough for 4 cars back there.
10, it's easy up.
10 by 10.
Yeah. Yeah. so if there's no problems with that, I can tell them.
That was just from 5 to 7 p.m.
5 to 7 p.m.,
Right.
yes.
Sounds like it's supposed to be anything. Trustees, I'd be looking for a motion to go to executive session to discuss certain contractual stipulations for certain departments and also compensation for an employee at 8:05.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killilee.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Master.
Aye.
Motion carries.
There will be no further action after our closed session.